I'm Taylor. That's Andrew. And that's Kelby. And it's time for some Tech Talk. This is Critgamer's Tech Talk live stream. This is one of our first live streams that we've done. Gentlemen, how are we this evening?
Doing great, Taylor. How are you doing?
I'm fantabulous. I've got 11 hours in Fallout 4, which is probably inhuman. Well, people probably have more than that, but I'm having a really great time in the wasteland.
Not bad since you just got it yesterday, right?
Oh, I got it the day it came out, buddy. Can't go.
Did it show up the day it came out? Okay.
Can't go anywhere without my pit boy. My pit boy. Love it so much. I love my pit boy. And we're going to be having lots of discussions this evening. Lots of great topics. We're going to be talking about some data caps and how we all personally loathe any company who decides that data caps is a thing because they're money mongrels and horrible people. Because there's no point. We're also going to be talking about some gaming, which Fallout 4 will be a large part of our discussion, as well as some opinions about the Steam Link and Steam controller, because someone in our discussion group got one, Andrew. So that will also be a great topic of discussion. And what do we all think about VR? Mobile VR versus the PC VR slash Facebook VR slash, whatever VR. Virtual reality. Are we going to Sword Art Online? Nobody really knows. And then also Windows 10. Windows 10, how do we feel about it? How are we using it in our dailies? Is there any businesses that we know of? We're going to be talking about all that and kind of how Windows 10 is evolving with updates. So anyways, we're going to get started, and I guess it's time to rant about the news. You ready, gentlemen?
Yeah. I guess just pull up the article there, and we'll kind of go over some stuff.
So the devil incarnate, Comcast. Data caps, man. What's y'all's opinion about the data caps? I feel like it's ridiculous. Or you know what? Let's try this. For people who really don't know what a data cap is, if they're they just got internet and they know how to get on there, they don't really understand data caps. Let's explain that.
Well, first off, they're not data caps. They make sure to tell you that they're not caps because they're not limiting you anymore. They're not. There's no stop for it. They're. I don't even know how they're trying to spin it now, because they're not caps. That's one of their big things. I know I've seen some people complain to the FCC.
Well, from what I understand, if you tell me that I'm only allowed to download a certain amount a month, what is that called? I mean, if I order unlimited drinks and they only give me 3 and say, well, you're actually over your limit of 3, even though you pay for unlimited drinks, you're only allowed 3 per night. What does that mean?
The way they're trying to spin it is it's not limiting. You can use the data all you want. They're not going to cut you off at you think of like a cap of your okay, how much gas does your car hold? You've got 16 gallons. When you run out of 16 gallons, you got to buy more. You got to put more gas or the car will stop. Whereas the way Comcast is trying to spin it is it's not a cap. It's not limiting. It's for fairness. You have to pay more because you use more now.
But that's
we were having this discussion the other day about how the industries are going, and I think one of the biggest things is that they continue to broadcast that this is not even a large percentage of users that are causing the problem. It's either 1 to 2% of the users that are causing large data allotments and lots of downloads and lots of streaming. And I mean, there was a report the other day related to this one that said that some people were using up to 7 terabytes of data transmission every single month. And I mean, that honestly is out of the norm, but I still don't think that they should be spinning it as a FCC charge. The FCC has literally done very little to enforce, if you will, a mandatory data cap or a data usage charge on these ISPs. It's just the whole reason that they're doing this is because cable subscriptions are going down and they have to offset the revenue somehow.
That's
And
that's exactly right.
that's the only thing.
It's literally for money. Like that's the bottom line, which is it's bad.
The problem is our generation. We are the millennials that everyone talk about, and we are cutting cable. We don't have the use for it. I can't justify the price of cable. There's not enough content on TV for me to sit there and pay, the $40, $50 a month for basic cable.
And I think also too, to go along with that, our generation is taking in on-demand content. So for the people of the cable age, you had to go and pick up your copy of TV Guide at your local grocery store. No joke. I remember going with my dad to make sure we got a copy of our cable guide so that we could tell what time our shows came on, since they wouldn't broadcast enough about how their TV lineup goes. They put more commercials in there. So another thing of our generation is that we are on-demand content, and that's why cable is like fizzling out. I mean, when you look at Netflix, you get to choose from a library of content that's like, you want to watch a comedy right now, and this is the content you want right this second. Whereas cable, you have to go, let me go see what's on, and then you have to pile through crap and then halfway start a show, or then you have to say, well, let me record it on my DVR. But of course, as cable companies like to do, that's more on the user in terms of cost. So it's like, why do you need cable when you could get Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime and have all of it instantly from a big library of choice, and you're paying less money a month for all of those services combined than you would cable? There's no point.
And the root of the problem started with cable providers. When they started giving people DVRs and getting people used to watching TV on their own terms. I mean, we grew up with DVRs. Our generation had DVRs. I mean, that's all we've known. Skip commercials, DVR through them. I mean, it's really the cable providers not innovating is the problem. They're not keeping up with what we want.
Right.
The content providers have had a lock on the rights to view, the rights to stream, the rights to broadcast for so long, and what you do is you put a box around that content. Well, then they're going to sign agreements with other content providers that give them a better deal. Take, for example, FM/AM radio streaming music. Well, online content gives a better royalty for that type of stuff. Also, you quintuple your viewer base. So you also take your content and maximize the viewership. So then you do a pay-per-view or something like that, but it ends up being a better deal for the content providers to do this anyway, rather than sticking to a single channel with advertisements and things like that.
Well, you got to think too with our generation, it's not just that we want it on demand. It's that we want it places other than our houses.
Exactly.
And we want to take our content with us, And
we want it on mobile devices.
And AT&T is kind of pushing that a little bit. I don't know if you've seen their mobile everything plan, where they give you 4 television set type deals, and then you get 4 devices. But then you can stream all your DirecTV content as well as you are on a cell phone service plan. I mean, I don't like the fact of a monopoly, but that's one way that these cable companies / phone companies are trying to give that content.
It's not the cable companies that are doing it. These are the satellite providers, because that's DirecTV. I think Dish is combating it. I think isn't it Dish that owns Sling TV also?
Well, yeah, right, but that's still a kind of a cable-esque company. I know it's not literally cable, but as a company that provides television services, as the same as it would be if the Suddenlink boxes or what are some other cable companies? Comcast is kind of Time Warner. Those seem like more of internet providers. And so,
yeah, but they still are. You talking about content companies, or are you talking about the actual delivery of the service?
The delivery. I mean, the only ones that are innovating are your Dish, is your satellite providers.
Yeah, because their viewer base is going down. Yeah, because the lines are actually coming to people's homes now, and the content via cable is. It used to be the other way around. Dish used to be a really popular thing to get, and now cable is taking the place of what Dish used to be, just because people can get it now.
Mm. Well,
but we're not even talking about the
we're completely
some of these companies. I mean, some of these companies like AT&T bought DirecTV, and then you have what's the company in up north?
Time Warner.
No, there's another one. I forgot the name of it. It's hang on.
There's Comcast. Let's see.
They want to merge with Comcast. It's
There's Time Warner Cable and Comcast want to become one.
No, hang on. It's Charter. Charter wants to merge with Comcast, and that would be the largest cable company in the world. I think that's the proper wording there. But they wanted to do a stock option merger and huge merger, but it stifles innovation when you do that, and the Justice Department will get involved. It's just like the merger with AT&T and T-Mobile. They won't let it happen, but it's a very dangerous move, and it contributes to these data caps. They just kind of come together and say, hey, we want to charge our users extra for X amount of data, but not fair to the end user.
I mean, if they want to compete, they're going to have to figure out a Netflix of their own or something that delivers content better. And that's what we need more of. You know, these data caps, like you said, they're ways for them to make more money. Well, instead of just finding loopholes in their own system to charge their viewership, why not actually get a team of resources together and say, what do our users want and how do we get it to them in the best way? And then do that. Because that's going to make you the most money the fastest. Because once you start giving your people what they want, and I guess too, they're exploiting the things that they know that people don't know. Like, there's a very few of our, population, sadly, that really understand what a data cap is and why it's important that they shouldn't have it. Because people just feel comfortable in just saying, well, I don't use more than 2 gigs. Why do I need to care? And it's like, you need to care because once you give them just an inch, they're going to want to take a mile. Like, they're going to run with it.
Right.
And you can't stop it after that. So, but I think education, too, is important. Telling people about this kind of stuff and saying, like, why it's not good and why we don't need it and what happens whenever they start putting stuff like this on people. And the next thing you know, you're going to have tiers of service, which is going to happen. You're going to have your basic tier of internet, which only has this. It's going to turn to what the cell phones do now. Like Verizon has their data plan, which is they're using little ice cream cones to kind of give you about how much you need. Small ice cream cone, 2 gig, 5 gig, 6 gig, 12 gig, 18 gig. That's going to be internet. You're going to say, oh, well, pick your package and then you can pay based on that.
But see, the difference is the way that cell phone providers sell their internet and the way that your landline providers are selling it. Landline providers, you pay for a certain amount of speed. That is what they sell you. Your pricing is based on your speed. Whereas when you go with a cellular carrier, you're buying a certain amount of data, and they will get it to you as fast as possible. There's no guaranteed speed.
But let's remember the days of old television. Let's go back in time a little bit. Cable companies used to, what you paid them for was to set the line out to your house that provided you the television, and then the television came to you, which at that time was free, but you could also think of it as the networks were providing your stuff for you. So right now, what's going to happen is that's going to transition again as it did with cable companies. Internet providers are going to see that this is a viable money-making type tier structure, and it's going to happen unless we band together and say we don't want that and we're not going to use you if you do that. Cell phone companies have already gotten away with it. Next is going to be the cable companies when they see that they can do it and not get in trouble.
Well, and the base problem of it all is that they could justify it by saying, look at our numbers. This is only affecting, 5%? You're the 5% that is the vocal 5% that are having the problem.
Yep.
And that is the problem. There's not enough if our 5% left the cable providers, it wouldn't make a difference to their bottom line.
No.
They're making money hand over fist right now off of us, because I think I saw a study that was like the price per gig was less than a penny that they actually pay for it. So it's already at a markup of 1,000% almost that they have on what they're paying to get this service and what they're delivering. Now, mind you, that doesn't count the equipment and the upkeep of the lines and things like that. But there's such a markup on it already that it's not going to matter if 5% of us leave, and the 5% that are leaving are opting for more expensive business lines of service, and they're making more money off of us anyways.
Yep, like all of us have now switched to business lines because of the caps. I mean, I had a buddy of mine tell me how many calls I've had with Suddenlink, and it's in the triple digits to how many tickets have been opened for me. So, I mean, it's pretty insane how many times and how many hours I've wasted complaining about this problem. Well, people need to complain about it because that's the only way that things move in the right direction. And it has. I think I'm okay with paying for a business plan a little bit more, expecting that I get unlimited service and better support. I mean, the time for all of us to get a tech is now expected to be within a 24-hour time frame. Normally, without a business plan, you suffer the risk of not getting someone out there very quickly.
3 to 5 days, generally.
Yeah.
And the fact that the business lines are becoming more price competitive, too. Like, I know y'all have middle to higher tier lines, but for me, I was running a residential 70-10, which is 70 download and 10 upload megabits per second. Now I've gone down to a 50 gig or 50 meg with an 8 up, but the thing about the business line is that it seems to have been more stable. And the fact that that's what I'm paying a little bit extra for now, being that it's around $80 to $90 a month. I mean, we also are in contracts as a business compared to the residential who are non-contract. But see, that's the problem too with the non-contract, is that Suddenlink has every right to price gouge that consumer because they're not in a contract. So they can say, oh, you know what, next month we're going to take that package deal away that we told them, or that we're giving them without telling them. So then their next bill is, and this is what happened with me on my residential line, is that I paid for security, I paid for phone, I paid for internet, and I paid for TV. And I watched my lines jump up $20 extra in 2-month increments. And I would call and I'd say, why is this so? And of course, the little poor Suddenlink technician who has to bear with me and go, I don't know why we're charging you extra. And then, of course, the way that the game plays is that you have to call the retention line, which is basically the people who give you the freaking deals to stay. And it's this whole game of let's see how much we can gouge the consumer, and the ones who complain will just give them a little bit more of the leeway in promos. And that's the game they play. They slowly raise your bill with the residential. And I just think that's horrible.
It's always a bait and switch with
and they play the consumers like that because they can.
But it's not any one provider either.
No, it's all of them.
Every provider plays this because you see the same thing with everything from,
with the exception of Google Fiber or municipal internet service providers, which are the little tiny companies. Like, for instance, Austin has Google Fiber, but about 30 minutes outside of Austin, there's a town, I believe it's called Greenville, and they have their own ISP, and they give you gigabit to the home. That's 1,000 up and down for $78 a month. It's crazy, and it's because they're so small time. They have 5 techs, and they service like a 30-mile radius. And I think that's how it should be everywhere. And they'll make more money that way, and then it actually benefits the area you live in, the area that you send your tax money to, benefits from doing a structure like that. So that only makes logical sense. Why don't I pay for places where I live and support businesses that you were in? It's I could rant all day about that.
We're in the East Texas area. So how do you What's your thought on Google Fiber coming through here? We're
all going to instantly switch. I can tell you that when Google Fiber.
No, I don't really see the need for it. I mean,
But
now
think
that
about
Suddenlink has pushed gig connections. I know it's not fiber, but it's still a gig connection.
Well,
And
it's gig down 100 meg up, where
yeah,
Google
but I don't
Fiber is
see-
gig both ways.
But
I
think
mean-
about it. Think about this though. Look at our geographical location.
Wait, hold
Where
on. Yeah.
if Google comes into Texas, they're already in. Where are they? They're in Dallas, a couple areas that they're moving into, and then I believe they're already in San Antonio.
Okay,
It's
so
Austin and San Antonio.
so
Austin and San Antonio, where they're looking at right now.
so here's Austin. I've got the map pulled up. So we've got Austin and San Antonio. Which, how far away is San Antonio from Austin? Is it about an hour?
It's an hour and 45 minutes.
Okay, so about 2 hours. Houston would be the next big city to get it next, and I would assume that Dallas would be.
Well, they're already in Austin. They're talking about San Antonio. They've mentioned they want to go to Dallas, which, I mean, who wouldn't? It's a regional hub for all the internet around here. Goes through Dallas. So Dallas to the next other place they would go would be Houston. So what is the logical route between Dallas and Houston? Where does the fiber run? It runs along I-20, and then it runs down 69 straight through our city.
And it also runs on 45 too. So if they were going to Houston from Dallas, they would run the fiber on 49. But then you'd also have
most of the fiber backbone.
Hello?
Oh, we lost Andrew.
Oh. Well, that's not good.
Anyway, no, I see what he's saying, and I see the map that you're doing there. It Did we gain him back?
I think we did.
Yeah, there he is. Sorry, folks.
Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties. Please stand by while we watch Taylor look at a map. And over here, up in this region...
Right.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I switched to my phone. My computer decided it wanted to shut down.
Oh, very nice.
Sweet.
So, like I was saying, the most of the fiber in the East Texas area runs down I-20 and then straight down 59. That's where Suddenlink's lines are. Just about everything in East Texas runs that way. So it would only be logical if Google has to run between Dallas and Houston that they're going to make a stop off in Tyler. I mean, why wouldn't they?
Well, here's my question. Does Suddenlink's fiber go from, let's say it goes to Dallas to Tyler, and then like travel down like in the NAC area? Because I know Tyler has fiber, but what's the next place after Tyler that provides fiber? So I mean, when I'm looking at the map and I see Houston, I'm thinking Interstate 45, and then you're also looking at Interstate 35 going to Austin from Dallas, going through Waco. I mean, those are the two major highways that I'm seeing. And then when I look at Tyler, it's like a tangent off to the right off of I-20. So, I mean...
Suddenlink has a redundant fiber ring that runs Tyler to North Houston to College Station.
Okay.
You can...
I could see that, yeah.
But I mean, as long as you have the speed, it doesn't necessarily have to be fiber. As long as you have the speed.
Honestly, I would be happy with like 100 up and
okay.
down. It's really the whole upload thing that we're all limiting here. Like, I know this is like, it's like, oh, what are you gonna upload to the internet? It's not a question of that. It's just the fact that as a people, since the 1996 Telecommunications Act, we have given out billions and billions of dollars to these companies to update our infrastructure to fiber everywhere to the home, and it hasn't been done yet. And so, as a consumer, and as you know, as a people who need a better infrastructure, that's what we need. is we need them to step up and quit pocketing the money that we've been giving them and give it back to the infrastructure so that we don't have to keep playing this game of, oh, well, we're going to give you this little bit.
I think part of the problem is that the subsidies that are given out are not they're not strict enough.
No.
There are limitations on what the company can do, and there are limitations on what the government should inflict upon the companies. But then again, you get into backside deals, you get into campaign fund contributions. I mean, these companies are using the very monies that they're given back into the system. I mean, it doesn't really benefit us very much. I mean, they get the lines laid, then they take their control, they have their boundaries. Like here in Tyler, there's only 2 major internet service providers, besides the point-to-point satellite systems that you can buy. But why would you want to do that when you have Suddenlink and AT&T here in Tyler? I mean, the fastest you can get on Uverse, I think, right now, what was it? 200 or 300? Oh, I thought it was 200 or 300 meg. But
well, that's business connections.
Yeah, that would be downtown. Yeah, but I mean, it like at my house, my only decision is I can get 6 meg DSL, or I can get gig fiber Suddenlink. Well, which one would you choose?
6 meg. Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, and then you have...
That's the wrong answer, folks. Wrong answer.
1.5 upload on that DSL connection.
Which is absolutely crazy. And it would be okay if you were out in the boonies in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I could definitely find you a spot in the middle of nowhere. There's a place near where I live in Jacksonville. It's called Gallatin. It's like a post office. No joke. That is Gallatin, a post office and a gas station. DSL would kind of make sense because it would cost so much for a service provider to get out there and run all that line and, you know, all that stuff.
But see, that shouldn't be an excuse that they're clinging to. There's not enough profit because of the fact that there's been so much government assistance.
Yeah, that too.
We've got phone lines everywhere. It's not an excuse if you have a house somewhere for them to say, well, it's too expensive for us to run lines out to your house. I mean, what kind of house doesn't have, you know, like an actual phone line nowadays? I mean, even if you've got to be really in the middle of nowhere, off the grid, your own power. I mean, you've got to be way out to not be able to get telephone lines. So why have we not gotten to that situation with internet? And that's what it needs to be. We need to get to the point that our internet is such a necessity to life that these carriers cannot say, well, I'm sorry, we can't provide to you. I've got a friend that lives right outside of Tyler, just bought a house in Chandler, and Suddenlink told him, yes, we can service you, we can service you, we can service you. They closed on the house, they went to move in, called Suddenlink, we don't serve you. They're 100 feet from the main road that runs through the city where there are cable lines.
Yep.
And they can't get service. And that is ridiculous that is even an option for them to be able to say that. I think we've had enough on these data caps. We could go on this about all night.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's
I have a serious hate for the data caps and the providers and how they treat people.
And with that, so that's kind of the gist of that, ladies and gentlemen. So just okay, here's the main points. Be wary of what you're paying for, and also fight for what you're paying for. Do not succumb to just, oh, I guess this is okay, because it really doesn't affect me. One day it will, and one day you'll be like, crap, I could have done something about it. So just bear in mind that there are things that you can do, and to the point where if you don't like the service enough, don't use it. Don't support the people that you don't like. That is not a way of life that you should be living. So, anyways, next topic, if we can get into some
All out.
All right, now this is your two discussion. I don't. We're going to talk about gaming topics, but Fallout 4 just released, so you guys kind of talk about that for a couple minutes and
Oh,
see
Gonna
what
sit there and twiddle
and
your thumbs.
the controller, and I'll listen to your beautiful voices sing harmony.
So Fallout 4 released Tuesday. One of the biggest releases on Steam ever.
oh yeah. Can you pull up, or do you have a link for that graph? Okay, that was pretty crazy.
The one I sent yesterday.
Yes.
Let me see here. I can find that.
So, I think Fallout 4 hit a record on Steam for being the most played game at a time. The most consecutive users playing a single game of all time on Steam. Fallout 4 hit that record. I mean, this is some serious stuff. And what's funny, too, is that Call of Duty released the Thursday before, and at least in my circles that I run with, I mean, they sold a lot of games, but it did not have as much hype at all compared to Fallout. I mean, Bethesda gets this stuff right whenever they hype, because they don't release these games, but every 5 years? So it is a massive, massive deal, whenever these things come out.
Well, and and they had a ridiculously limited amount of time to hype the game because it was announced at E3. That was what, May?
Yeah.
So it was like 5 months from when they announced it to when they released it. And it just has a ridiculous amount of hype behind it and how many people actually bought it. I mean, it was the top seller of all time, ahead of what was the previous top seller?
Skyrim, wasn't it?
Wasn't it GTA?
Or
I think it
GTA?
was GTA.
GTA had like a huge user base at the time that it came out. Oh my gosh. Let me see if I can find the statistics on that.
Did you get that link?
Yeah, it's up right now. So,
Okay.
I mean, as you can see, the owners versus players, it's like, it's some crazy numbers.
The biggest funny part of it all is if you look on that.
Yeah, look at Australia.
That chart. Australia, for some reason, had almost 24% of all players playing on day one.
I wonder why a quarter of the world was playing in Australia when
Wait, how many players did you say that were on Fallout at the time of release?
On day one release, Australia had 23.81% of all players, whereas the players owned is about 4%. So, for some reason, 20% of the players were not supposed to be playing in Australia.
Okay, so it shows that the stats also reveal that GTA Online players own a combined total 422. Okay, hold on. No, it's 34 million players at the time of release were online playing
For Fallout 4?
for GTA.
GTA.
I'm looking at the statistics compared. Players online release.
But yeah, this is a great game. I mean, I've put 12 hours into it so far, and that's 2 days. So come home, and as soon as I got it, I unboxed my Pip-Boy edition of the game. I got it, installed it, and played it until about midnight. Same thing happened yesterday.
So what's your thought on the how do you like the Pip-Boy app?
Okay,
I think that's an interesting aspect they threw at us with it.
so here is the Pip-Boy edition. To be completely 100% honest, this is an over-glorified smartphone case. Now, me being a giant fan of Fallout, I'm okay with this just sitting on my desk. I have very large arms. I'm a 350-pound man. This does not fit well on my arm. But it is cool. I like having physical pieces of my game around. I wasn't a giant fan of the Skyrim Collector's Edition because it was just a statue of Alduin, which is the main antagonist dragon. So, I mean, that's just not my thing. I've always been in love with the Pip-Boy, so it was justifiable for me to buy the game, which was $60, and then for $60 more, get a collectible item that was very hard to get in terms of when you were able to pre-order it. I read a lot of bad experiences about Amazon and how they shipped it, but luckily in the East Texas area, my Pip-Boy edition came on time, in good condition, nothing missing out of it. So
one of the guys at work still waiting on his Legendary Edition from GameStop.
In Pip-Boy edition?
Yep, Pip-Boy Edition. It still has not showed up. He ordered it with next day shipping from GameStop, and he got tracking yesterday, today. I think it was supposed to show up today, I think is what he said. He was going home to get it. But I wasn't even talking about the actual collector's edition thing. What I was mentioning is how the app that they give you.
Right, I was getting to that. Sorry, I just kind of went on a little tangent. Okay. Yeah, well the point is that this is an over glorified case for that smartphone app. So, in my findings, I found it really cool because I played the game for maybe 2 hours with the controller. I used my PS4 controller and then Bluetooth it to my PC. And the game plays a lot differently with the controller. But the app was nice because I didn't have to tab out. It was just on the fly. So one of the things that I used it for is that they have a quick stim pack button on the main part of your stats on the phone. So when I needed a stim pack and I was like in the heat of battle, I had my phone sitting right in front of me and I would just tap the stim pack button and it would automatically give me a stim pack. Whereas I'd have to press tab, I'd have to go to my inventory, I have to go look to make sure I pick stim pack. And then, so that was nice. Like, I really do feel like they did a pretty solid job on a second app experience. I kind of feel, though, that when I was playing mouse and keyboard, it wasn't a problem for me to access the menu. It was the controller. So the secondary app is very good for controller players. I highly recommend it. But as a PC...
I would say for those who don't know what... I don't know if you're showing it. For those that don't know, the app actually gives you full access to your inventory in-game. So from your phone, it connects over your wireless network to the game. It shows you inventory, map position. You can fast travel from the app, and it'll actually fast travel on your computer. You can manage your inventory, drop items. It's really very, very convenient to have all of this information, everything that's in the Pip-Boy on the game to be able to. It's starting up.
They won't be able to
10-minute startup.
Well, and they won't be able to see it because of my green screen. So when I show the app, it's like look into a portal of your soul. Anyways, but I could show y'all a view of it, and that's fine.
But I definitely thought that was a very interesting concept that they brought out. It's something that you haven't seen a whole lot of games do, where they actually reach out and use. I mean, Destiny had a companion app, but it was really just for stats. There was no management of your items. There was no nothing that actually helped you in game. Whereas Fallout 4, you have access to your full inventory on your phone, and that it's really an ingenious way that they used the smartphone, kind of bridged the gap.
Right. So we're showing a view of a demo feed right now. So as y'all can kind of see, you can look at your stats, and then at the top of it, you have your stats, inventory, data, map, radio. But you can click all of that while the game is still playing without having to pause or do anything. You can listen to things, you can edit your stats and your perks, do all of that on the fly. So this is, as Todd Howard said, it's not just some, little secondary app joke kind of like, oh, we made a video game, I guess we can create this app with it too. This is a very well thought out companion to the game, which makes it a very valuable. And so,
does the interface that shows on there actually show the interface on the actual device inside the game?
No, that's the great thing about it, is like the game continues as it were, as if you weren't touching any of the menus. So like whenever I was talking about the stim packs, let's say you used it on the phone, it would show in the game, it says 1 stim pack used, and it'd show, of course, the action of you stabbing yourself with a stim pack, getting more health. So, and it's like instant. So they did a really good job with implementing that properly.
It's very well in sync between the two devices.
Yes.
Like I said, it's probably one of the coolest features of the game. that I've found that's just it's something that no one really does.
Yeah.
You don't see that a whole lot.
And like I said, my opinion about it is if you're using a controller, which that's all your Xbox and PS4, and if you're playing on a PC and you like controller better, that companion app is really good for you. But if you're playing with just a mouse and keyboard, I mean, I would say just
I have not played with a mouse and keyboard. Actually, I've played completely with a controller. And speaking of controllers, I've been trying out the new Steam controller. I got that in today.
Oh yeah.
So have you played Fallout on your television in the other room?
I have not yet. I got it at 5 o'clock. I got it today at work, and I have not had a chance to hook it up. I've got the Steam Link sitting here next to me.
Do you have the controller in front of you?
The device. I mean, it's tiny. This is what you plug into your TV. A few ports there. I think it's HDMI, USB, Ethernet, power. To look at it, yeah, 2 USB, Ethernet, HDMI, power, a USB port on the side, and that's all this box is.
Now you said that it works. The reviews online say it works way better over Ethernet rather than wireless. Correct?
That's what I've read. The reviews say if you're going to use it use it Ethernet. The Ethernet is almost flawless. They said there's almost no real noticeable difference when you're playing over it. One of the reviews I read actually said that he to play games on his TV in his living room, he had a 50-foot HDMI cable ran through his ceiling, and it made him obsolete. He said it completely removed the need for the HDMI cable now. He said it works so well that he doesn't need it.
And just the fact that he has to replace his 50-foot HDMI cable with a 50-foot Cat5 cable.
But you know, a lot of people that are running stuff to a media place. I mean, I've got Ethernet at my TVs already. But that was one of the first things I did when I moved in. Is I ran Ethernet where I was going to have a TV. There's one Ethernet cable, and I'm going to have an Xbox. I'm going to have a PS4. You know, I'm going to have devices that will inherently work better over Ethernet. And at one point, I had a whole media center there, so I can't, you know, I can't say it's a bad thing to have Ethernet.
Well, no, but you know, I kind of think of the common man, you know, and I guess that's why they kind of designed it that way. Is they knew that if you're buying a Steam Link, you have high-end / okay hardware, and I guess they kind of just assume that in your media center environment you're going to have something like that. I guess that's why they did it that way. I'm kind of thinking out loud. Apologize, but
well, it does support Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi is okay, but you know, any kind of streaming over Wi-Fi is going to be dependent on, you know, the quality of your signal, and
right.
You don't want that when you're gaming. I mean, like I said, I've got Ethernet at both my TVs. I spent the time to run a cable to my bedroom and to my TV in my living room. So it's the perfect device for me. I've also got the Steam controller. I got this in today. The design is very different. Like, it's not what I expected. It's concave in. I don't know if you can see there.
Right.
Oh, something just popped up. Okay. It's concave in, whereas most controllers kind of dome out.
Right.
It's got a really, really nice feel there. Back bumper buttons there on the back side. Like in Fallout 4, that's mapped to your jump. So you just kind of squeeze the controller to jump. Everything about it feels solid. You know, the clicks are very solid. I have no complaints. I mean, my only issue that I've ran into is that the joystick seems to be not quite as sensitive as I'd like in Fallout 4. But to be honest, that's something that can
that Steam controller's getting to you.
Taking your breath away.
It's just so good. Sucks the air out of the room.
To be honest, though, I mean that's something that can be fixed in game.
Right.
I mean that's a sensitivity adjustment. other than that, it's not as awkward as I would have thought it would have been to be just the sliding pad, the touchpad. You know, you would think that would be really weird going from a joystick to a touchpad, but it really wasn't bad at all. Like I've played about an hour with it this afternoon, and I've actually thought about getting a second one to have one in the bedroom, one actually dedicated to my TV.
Man,
it comes with a couple little. It comes with a USB dongle to plug into your computer for it, and then it also has a little a USB dock that's micro USB to USB, so that you can actually run a cable anywhere to put it closer or on top of your desk or things like that if you don't have a place for it just to stick out the front.
That's
so
really nice.
Came with some nice little accessories like that. I don't even think it installed a driver. When I plugged it in, I don't know that I saw a driver install. It just detected that it was a Steam controller. When Steam was open, the right joystick controlled my mouse. I could actually control the computer with the Steam controller.
That's pretty sweet.
It really was just a flawless experience. I don't have anything bad to say about it yet.
I'd really like to see the Steam keyboard integration become like a standalone app for your PC, because that's what intrigued me the most about it. I haven't got one yet. I mean, I just bought a PS4 controller for my PC, and I really like it. And I still get the trackpad functionality on the PS4 controller. So I'm kind of okay at the moment. Probably at our next LAN party, I'll probably be wanting to test out the Steam controller, obviously.
Yeah, I'll definitely bring it and let you play with it.
But that's what I enjoyed watching, is how they were able to kind of almost have like a cell phone text experience, but it was on a PC. And I've read and heard a lot that it's a very positive experience. Like, it's really polished the way they have that typing experience with that controller. So I think not only just about the living room, but as well as some PC users might actually just prefer to use that totally than their mouse and keyboard. Now, of course, there's going to be some specific niche games that are not going to play well with it. Like, you're probably not going to want to play CSGO competitively with that kind of controller. I mean, obviously.
Well, I mean, you're not going to be able to play Dota with it, but
no,
I've seen people map the keyboard and mouse out for CSGO, and they said it was definitely playable. Now, mind you, not at a competitive level.
No,
but if you're just
casually playing,
yeah. I mean, I
think it's a great casual accessory. It's not. Yeah.
I definitely can't complain, and it's a beautiful controller. I really like it. Like I can't speak highly enough.
It sounds like you're knocking coconut shells together
when I click it. That's a very firm click. That's the back pad there.
Oh, look! Wow,
that's the back pad when you click it. So,
and I'd assume that's replaceable since it like completely comes off.
Actually, that's where the battery goes. So
right.
You push the thing up, the battery pack pops off, and the battery goes behind the little pad. I'm not really sure what you're pressing against there. It's kind of a interesting design.
Yeah.
But there's a little tab at the top, it looks like.
Well, speaking kind of Steam innovations, I know this is where they're trying to integrate PC gaming with your couch. So kind of our next move is getting away from these square monitors and going into the realm, man. Get in the game. So the way that
it's virtual reality?
Yes. What do y'all feel about that?
I've got mixed feeling. I feel like we've been trying to do this forever. I mean, we had it with the what was the Nintendo's one they had back in the day.
Oh, we're not going to talk about this Virtual Boy.
Yeah, the Virtual Boy. That wasn't 80s. That was
80s,
90s.
No, very early 90s.
It was 90s. It was between, I want to say it was between the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo 64. I think it was like 95, 96. I've got memories of playing with them in.
Came out in 95, so this is mid 90s.
95.
Mid 90s.
I was right on the money, wasn't I?
Now, see, I think I think the kicker is though, is that now we've tried to do virtual reality and we've tried to do 3D television. We've tried to do all that with the TV set box. And to be honest with you, I think the industry consensus is that it's completely failed from a mainstream standpoint. It's kind of a unique thing. So now they're trying it on the PC realm. Google has been working on a virtual reality world for quite some time. I need to find that article, but
they've been doing the cardboard, Google Cardboard.
Yes,
And then they have. I actually showed this to my mother-in-law's a teacher. I showed her the Project Exploration, I think is what it's called, that Google does.
That is amazing. I think that is just, it blew me away whenever I watched the Google I/O conference and saw that.
And those are great uses for it. I mean, showing people the world. But I don't know that I see virtual reality really taking off. I mean, that's the bar to enter it right now is still so high.
I think within 10 years, the technology will be there to integrate our full senses into a virtual world, and that it will be like a what's the movie called where they go to Mars? It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. I can't remember the name.
Total Recall.
Yeah.
Total Recall.
I think that we will have Total Recall experiences built into our world, where we'll be able to just completely immerse into a different world, a different experience.
For all you anime fans, SAO.
Yep.
What I would like to see is Sword Art Online.
Shh! That's a very niche market there, boy. You better be careful.
I would like to see, I mean, you see virtual reality going to the point of, do you remember that movie, Gamer?
Oh gosh.
Where
no
people.
No, I don't want to C-rated movies. It's even below a B movie.
Have you seen that, Kelby? Gamer. It was really popular. That would have been 2010, 2011-ish.
And for anybody who doesn't remember, here is a picture with Gerard Butler. It was kind of like, Gerard, what do you want to do? I don't know. I have nothing going on. Why don't you be in this movie about being controlled by a person, but it's real because you're a convict and you have no choice?
It was like Call of Duty with convicts, people that
it's Death Race with guns.
Well, Rotten Tomatoes gave it a good 28%, so they loved it.
It was a pretty horrible movie. We watched it. I saw that.
And Gerard's a great actor. Anyways, don't go down that realm.
Look at that photo. That is just so inspirational.
Which one? The cover art or the
play trailer?
At the top. He's like, ooh.
Wait, I have to. Let me get this to where everybody can look at it. Hold on, we're gonna zoom in.
28% on Rotten Tomato. Yeah, it was too bad.
He's unleash him. Release the Gerard Butler.
You know what, Kelby? That movie made more money than you'll make in your life.
And I'm okay with that.
It made $20 million.
They use the term hyperkinetic, so they can make more money than I.
Gosh. So the whole point of that conversation before Gerard Butler even made it into our freaking stream. Gosh dang it, Gerard somehow made it into the stream.
Phantom of the Opera.
The point of that was, and okay, here's something that I am excited about. I don't know if y'all are or not, but the HTC Vive. It is a headset that you wear, and it is like mainly targeted for PC players. It's like, we want you to be in virtual reality by December, so, or at least of spring of 2016, like officially. And they seem to have some really cool stuff going for it. I'm not such a huge fan of like the little controller things that they like like the Razer Hydra did, and like Steam kind of did for a little bit. I don't know. I would like to be in an environment like I play Elite Dangerous, which is a spaceship simulator. It would be nice just to. I don't want like full. Let me feel my junk while I'm flying through space jiggle. Like I don't want that. I just want I want to be able to grab my joystick, not the this one. Wait, hold on.
Wow.
We're going down the roller coaster now.
All right, we're back. We're going back uphill. Anyways, the point just being is that I want to feel like I'm in the spaceship. I want to be able to look around the flight deck. That didn't have any references at all to it. Now you're just laughing to be giggly.
I want to grab my joystick and be in the spaceship.
The spaceship that had no references.
I know. I'm just kidding.
All right, everybody, get your giggles out. Come on.
All right, let's flatline the conversation here.
So do you really see this taking off? I mean,
it's gonna be niche. It's gonna be niche.
Oculus Rift's been trying this for how long? They've been.
It's developer.
For a while.
It's not officially consumer out.
But how many games are supporting it? Not very many.
Again, it's not consumer ready.
I don't know that consumers want a device on their head, though. I mean, look at Google Glass. Where did that go? Glass was
hipster pockets.
Didn't even last. I mean, yeah, nobody bought Glass.
I still think it's a viable niche market, though. I mean, kind of the same with not to make any more jokes or references, but a HOTAS flight stick, which is a throttle on a flight stick. There's not everybody in the world plays flight sims, but it's a great product and it does what it's supposed to do. And I feel that virtual reality headsets could do the same thing. It's not for everybody, but there's a market for it.
Viable though, for them to be viable and marketable, they've got to be cheaper than they are.
I would say
they've got to be. You can get a flight stick for $30 to $50. You can get a really nice one for $150, $200. That's top end. Whereas the cheap virtual reality headsets, you're looking at the price of a 60-inch TV.
And okay, on that note, I've heard rumblings that the HTC Vive will be around $299 to $250, and I believe now if it's a Quad HD display, which I'm pretty sure they're going to put a 1440p display in there.
Resolution is,
but that's an achievable price point.
Yeah,
you can.
You can't buy a cell phone for that much at this point, unless you're buying a OnePlus.
The problem is that if the development community is not built on an open platform, you won't get anything from it. And
Steam is backing the HTC Vive. That's why I'm really excited about it. Because when you got Steam and Valve behind something's going to get made correctly in a marketable way. Same as the Steam controller. It's not for everybody, but it's definitely a cool product.
Gaben will not put his brand on everything.
No, and if he's putting his stamp on this, I'm like, I'm listening. Just let me hear it, and I'll probably...
Yeah, but the Steam controller is something that was needed on the PC for Steam.
Yes, exactly.
Steam has PC support. They've been pushing hard their big picture mode. That's been around forever. And it was always, what can you use? You can use an Xbox controller. Steam's not making any money off of you going and buying an Xbox controller. It didn't make sense for them. If you're going to spend $50 on a controller, which that's about the price of any controller nowadays. It doesn't matter if you're buying an Xbox One, a PS4, or even a Logitech wireless controller is going to be $30, $40.
Yep.
So why not Steam? It's not a niche market for Steam. It is a logical business move for Steam to put physical hardware in a like a GameStop, which is they're selling them at GameStop. For them to put a physical hardware in GameStop which it gives their name meaning in GameStop. Oh, that's a Steam device. What else does Steam do? It's a marketing move for them to put hardware out.
Right, but and okay, here's another thing. I've got this posted. It's apparently you can go to an HTC Vive experience. They've got you can go to an event at Hearst, Texas. There's going to be an event in Dallas, Texas. Oh wait, let's see. Oh, these are already all passed. Okay, well, there's going to be these are all passed. Well, thanks HTC. HTC for it's like you can go to all these places. It's like, oh wait, we're already past November the 6th, so never mind. I thought that was cool for a moment until I read the date. So whatever, HTC. Anyways, the point is that they're putting this out, and I also think other than just the market of people and normal gamers, this could be help for industries and companies too, but of course they'll pay whatever price you want if they really have to have it. So I don't know. I think it would work just fine, and I think they'd make their money, and I think, yes, it's not going to be for everybody, and they're not going to have to make it for everybody. I think they'll make their money even with it being niche. And so,
Yeah.
And especially when Steam VR, it's like Steam is branding kind of this to be their own. So
Well, and it's all going to depend on, like we said earlier, it's going to depend on developers. What what games it supports. You know, if Fallout 4 would have came with VR support, this thing would have sold out. You know, there would be no.
And maybe they're going to do something like that. Maybe that's what they're working on. And when the HTC Vive officially announces, they're going to have like a lineup of 5 games that will work perfectly with it. Kind of like they do with their Steam controller. It's like these games will work absolutely flawless with the Steam controller, and these may need a little bit.
VR. That's what we need.
Okay, here's what they're gonna do.
That would be amazing.
They're gonna announce Half-Life 3 with VR support, Fallout 4 with VR support,
God.
Rocket League with VR support,
With your Bluetooth crowbar.
So
Well,
and finally, I guess really the last thing we have to talk about, speaking of platforms, is Windows 10. Are we all migrated? I know Andrew and I are.
I have not migrated because I have less than 1 gigabyte on my SSD. So
the struggle, man.
yeah, I know. Both my SSDs have less than 1 gig on them. So
It just makes me so sad that your computer is in the shape that it is.
it's okay. It's functional right now, and that's all that needs to be.
It'll play Rocket League.
Okay, I turned off all page file. Okay, because I ran out of disk space. So there you go. That's the struggles that I'm
Did you
entering.
turn off hibernation?
I turned off hibernation. The hibernation.sys file does not exist.
Oh my gosh.
So we are running on empty fumes here, ladies and gentlemen.
You need to just break down and buy a 500 or 1 terabyte solid state drive.
I know. Well, I will probably during Black Friday or something. I'm not sure. As
After you buy Christmas presents.
yeah, after I just did a kitchen remodel, buy Christmas presents, about just everything else. So we just
What are
need
you
to
getting
keep
me for
stacking it.
Christmas?
A big fat kiss. So
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
hey, Hershey's chocolate kiss. So
All right. Well,
but okay, for Windows 10, this discussion can really get out of control. So let's kind of stay on topic here.
straight and narrow.
So let's talk about. We have a document here that we're looking at. So let's talk about the experiences and updates. I'll go ahead and tell you that the newest update that's coming out. I need to post a link for that, but it's called Threshold, and that's the newest update. And
is that the major update that came out today?
Did it come out today?
There was a major the first major patch I think was out today.
Hang on, let me take a look. Yeah, Windows November 10 update, fall update, which is Threshold 2, and it focuses on memory management, desktop, Microsoft Edge, the browser. Here, let me give you this link so you can post it, Taylor.
Yeah, I've got the other 2 links, so yeah, when we're ready to...
There you go. But this one focuses on the start menu, making it a little bit more refined. Tablet mode is fixed a little more. Context menus are better. Cortana is improved. The desktop personalization features are changed. The settings app is a little more refined. Multitasking windows. The about section is more refined.
I think my biggest complaint with Windows 10 has been that there's no uniform settings location anymore.
Yeah, they're two separate
like
settings. There's Windows
split up
8
settings.
and then regular one.
Yep. There's 2 ways to activate, 2 ways to change your background, 2 ways pretty much to do anything, and it's very
Well, and
And it's a transition period. This is the transition OS.
The problem, though, is that it's not that there's 2 places. I would be okay if it was in both places. The problem is there's certain features, certain settings that are only in the new Windows 10 or only in the old settings. So it's not if there was just 2 different UIs for it, it wouldn't be a problem to me. You know, I wouldn't have a problem with learning a new UI. The problem is that some of these features are over here, and then some of these features are hidden over here, and they should all be in one place.
right. I agree. But yeah, the UI, in my opinion, I'm a huge fan of minimalism and flat UI. I like I don't like shadows. I don't like anything related to that. So the UI to me is perfect. But the whole reason that I haven't upgraded is our next topic. I don't know if we want to jump to it right now, but it's the spying and data collection
Bum, bum, bum.
of Windows 10. And actually, I was just reading another article here. In the Threshold update, they actually integrate a piece into the system settings for power and sleep. And it's a feature on the Surface and other tablets. It says, "Save me power when Cortana knows I'm away." So what that's doing is that it's listening to your microphone to see if there's detection of noise. If there's no detection of noise or limited detection of noise related to what it normally should be with you being there, your computer will clock down in clock speed. It will use just less performance when you walk away. I don't know how I necessarily feel about all that,
I don't
especially
like that.
with all the ad tracking that's involved with it, with
Yeah,
being
but
related. Go ahead.
do you really have a problem with that? I mean, we're praising Android right now with Android 6.0 and the doze feature that, you know, puts the phone to heavy sleep mode when you're away, when it's not moving.
Now that's different because it's using the motion of the phone, so it's only checking the gyroscope,
but it does the same thing. It
does
can track your usage, and
Yes.
just like the iPhone's pedometer or whatever it's called, it tracks your steps. I mean, the phone itself is knowing your daily activity.
But why do we have more of a problem? Why is this such an outcry with Windows 10, where we have this in every single, you know, everyone has a smartphone on them and they carry it, but you're not going to give up. They don't holler about Windows 10, you know, I mean, about your smartphone. Oh, my smartphone is tracking when it's moving, so it, you know, saves battery life. We're not hollering about that, but I think there's a lot of outrage on Windows 10 and the privacy settings that's very unjustified. Where, you know, we've in the past been you know, we're fine with, you know, Apple. We give them iMessage where they can have every single text message we want to send. We run through iMessage.
And I guess it's, I don't know if Microsoft's not coming out. Like, Apple has defended publicly, which has probably made them have a better image about how encrypted their stuff is and that they can't even access it whenever the FBI comes a knocking and / government's like, we want these. And Apple's like, I can't give that to you because we don't even have access. So that puts people's minds at ease compared to Windows. They just haven't had the chance yet to give people that kind of explanation.
But on the opposite end of that, you know, look what happened with those all those actresses that had, you know, lewd pictures of them released.
Well,
you know,
my first issue with that is if you're using a cloud-based storage to store lewd pictures of yourself, for one, you're making yourself a target. Do not put things you would not want the entire internet to see in a cloud-based storage.
It's not that they were using the cloud-based storage. It was that they did not realize that their iPhones were automatically uploading all pictures.
Yeah.
You know, how many users turn that on by default?
Yeah,
You know, I mean that's on
iCloud
every
photo
phone.
iCloud photo sharing. That's dumb. I mean, I'm sorry, but the end user, if they're not willing to take the liberty of learning more about their device, I can't tell you how many times I've gone on a user's phone and disabled all of the location services for different apps. On an iPhone, you have a feature called background app refresh. That consistently pulls your location, pulls data, pulls all kinds of system apps inside the phone. Then you have frequent locations under like location services to help learn more about your location. And then Maps now has a notification built in iOS 8 and iOS 9 that gives you an idea of when you're supposed to get off work. So it tells you how long it's going to take you to get home based on traffic conditions from your
Yeah.
phone and your current location.
Well,
I don't.
and you know how they get those traffic conditions, right?
Yeah, they pull it from crowdsourcing other users.
Yes, I mean, but we have all these things that, you know, the iPhones are doing and Android phones are doing, but we're not hollering uh about uh them making these changes, whereas we have a huge problem with
All right, so
broke my
what?
concentration.
The image. Okay, yeah, the image that I broke Andrew's the concentration with was this one. This is kind of how software developers and engineers view us as the user. You know, they give you a cup of water and they expect you to drink from it, and then this is what ends up happening.
Users have no idea how to drink out of it.
So the point of
like,
that
what
is
this you sent me. I was trying to be serious.
It actually pertained to what we're talking about, surprisingly. So just the point is that I think they kind of halfway are trying to say, well, we want to give them these features, but how the heck do we idiot proof it? And they're having to do all of that at the same time. So that's when I kind of feel like if you're going to buy a device and use their services, you should do your best to figure out all the things that your device pertains to. And that's just my personal opinion. That's not ever going to be enforced, and that's probably asking for way more than what I should, but that's just how I feel. And that's kind of a personal mantra of mine. If I'm going to buy something, I'm going to try to be as heavily researched and try to understand it the best that I can before I use it. So live life like that, you'll do well, but that's not going to do it.
But the consensus for tech companies now, they really don't care. I mean, I think the broad consensus is, except for Apple repeatedly saying on their site that they care about users' privacy and things like that. I mean, do we really understand and really see the back end operations here? I mean, you can say that all you want and you can believe that all you want, but I think the major consensus is across all tech companies is that in order to have some sort of back end revenue model, they require some sort of spying and tracking and things like that to serve better the user experience. I agree. And there should be some of that. I mean, to better see how users use the devices and use the services. I get that.
That comes down to, if they're giving something away for free, you're the product. And people don't understand that.
Yep.
Exactly.
I mean,
if it's free, you're the product. Mm-hmm.
You look at Facebook. How is Facebook making a revenue? They're making revenue. They are, honestly, Facebook's number one revenue generating thing is ads. That's how they make all their money. That's how they keep the servers running. And we've set this precedent with companies like Google. We give Google every piece of information about us. If you're a Google person, I mean, they've got my full contact list. They've got my photos. I use the cloud-based photo backup of my phone. Google has every piece of information about me. Google could almost take over my life.
Could I make a comment about that real quick?
Go ahead.
Any of you paranoid people or enjoyers of futuristic movies, go watch Ex Machina. It's exactly a story about what Andrew just said. It is about a search engine company mining all that data information to make AI. It's a very good movie. Go watch it. So
it's basically what Google's doing right now.
It's a movie about Google. Go watch it.
You'll have to link that. I haven't seen that yet.
Are you okay? Yeah, it's a great movie. Just go watch it. We'll link it in the YouTube video so that y'all can watch it. But yeah, it it is a great movie. Anyways, so on that point, yes, if something is free, you are the product. Like, don't buy into it that it's free because they want your convenience. It's not about your convenience. It's about making money off of you. And yes, Google is the #1 person / company who has all that information, especially if you have a good life of information in your Google account. If you're a Googler and buy into all that, which
really, it's not necessarily the companies that are the problem. It's the government intervention behind it that's the problem. What will they do? What would they do after the fact with the data? I mean, that's the biggest thing for me, is that they, like the NSA spying and things like that. But I mean, we could continue this conversation quite a bit. I mean, this itself could be a show, and so I guess we can.
And on that point, if y'all, whoever's out there in old Twitch land watching, what topics of content do y'all want to hear about us to talk about? And if y'all enjoyed this content, just let us know in the comment section, or go to our Facebook page, Critgamer, and leave us a little comment on how we did. This is our first iteration of this. If y'all have any questions or concerns or comments or things that y'all would like to see done better, we take that. Also, we have our website, critgamer.com, where we're trying to build the website. We'd like to take as much input as possible to make it a better experience for everybody. So on that point, we are going to wrap up this session of tech talk. It's like, I feel like the church lady. A little bit of tech talk. Mm-hmm.
A little bit of tech talk.
Mm-hmm. Satan. So, so if y'all enjoyed it, just let us know. But yeah, let's go get our tinfoil hats on. It's time.
Well, thanks for everybody for participating, and we'll be posting this on YouTube. So thanks, guys.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.